Chapter 1. Looking at your mornings different. Chapter 1. Looking at your mornings differently will change your perspective. Introduction. The truth is that every challenging event you've experienced, each toxic person that you've encountered, and all the trials you've endured have been perfect preparation to make you into the person that you now are. You needed these lessons to activate the treasures, talents, and powers that are now awakening within you. Nothing was an accident. Ever wondered why your life feels as if everything has been dumped onto you and you don't know where to start? We all have been there. We experience successes as milestones that we consider fleeting as we age. Graduations don't seem to be as important yet, are happy memories nonetheless. That is a superfluous approach towards appreciating what life has to offer and the impact you could make for yourself and others. Appreciation starts with simplicity. Simplicity with how you feel every morning, with how or when to take your coffee, to determining how late you already are for work. Simple decisions have greater consequences than you think. Decisions can also take us to the darkest places of our minds and influence us to give up in the face of failure. That's a simple decision too, but it is one not worth taking, as negativity is but a part of life and not a catch-all throughout adulthood. When you keep your simplicity positive and open for improvement, your mind starts to shift to creating a sense of order. However, it's acceptable to think this process is hard. We can have a positive mind and yet be bored or feel stuck with no options to entice us. This will likely lead us to procrastinate. Although procrastination can cure boredom, and leaving things for later can sound like a great idea, it is nothing but an utter lack of discipline. Simple changes in our lives can allow us to have a more positive view of discipline. Thus, the pitfall of boredom can appear less and less. It all starts with what you can accomplish in 1 hour earlier in the morning, while everyone else is asleep. Chapter 1. Looking at your mornings differently will change your perspective. Most of us have an 8 to 10 hour day devoted to work, which is usually scheduled around the 40-hour week. The philosophy behind this workload is meant to guarantee a limited amount of time to justify a salary. You may be asking yourself, is that enough of an incentive? The real answer is no. There is very little relation between assigning a specific time frame and achieving productivity, because most of us will slack at some point during work hours. Even when we are already waking up early, we do so because we must, not because we want to. This is what we often learn while attending school. To follow a pattern that is similar to what an employer will require to meet their expectations, and for us to produce results. Waking up early because we want to is a self-driven exercise, because how we wake up determines the course of our day. When we encourage ourselves to wake up to appreciate the beauty of the sun rising, it changes our attitude from rushing through our morning routine to being able to center ourselves. With the appropriate focus, we can learn how to be in an environment with fewer distractions. For instance, our focus is like a radio. The signals we receive and the signals we emit are determined by our ability to concentrate. When we amplify those signals, it means that we can hold much more information from different frequencies or sources. Our concentration is akin to a bandwidth. The broader or bigger our bandwidth, the more information we can retain, thus concentrating a lot better. When we learn to place our concentration on one task or on our work, we allow ourselves to become more productive without experiencing burnout. The key is learning to perform smarter, not working ourselves towards exhaustion. Chapter 2. Going from superficiality to granularity. Defining productivity can be tricky because everyone's definition or approach can vary. Some people may define productivity as quality. Others may define it as quantity, but we do so only at a superficial level. Productivity on the surface is measured by the output of what we can see within time constraints. With a finite amount of time, people are encouraged to either accomplish a lot in the shortest amount of time possible, or accomplish fewer things with a surplus of time. Aren't the two direct opposites of a spectrum? Productivity towards success means placing the focus on progress rather than immediate gratification. We all seek gratification, recognition, or a positive response for a job well done. But if that's our only goal, then we lose perspective on how we progress to better ourselves. Granularity starts at investing the time to be self-aware of how we will achieve our goals. It's not about what you want to achieve tomorrow or within the next 5 years, but how your actions are conducive towards your progress. For example, instead of putting yourself on crunch time learning to code in the least amount of time, ask yourself simpler questions about why it is important for you to learn coding. This is called learning and growing. Finding a purpose or reason why we must learn something will guide us to making better decisions. Following our coding example, is it better to learn Java or Python? Is it better to learn both? Refining our progress through better decision-making is like hitting a bullseye. The more precise your aim, the better your outcome. This is also part of the process of achieving granularity. If you can master certain skills that will guarantee your best performance, it will be far more rewarding than having an endless list of credentials with little substance behind them. No wonder the aphorism stands true in many areas of life. Jack of all trades, but a master of none. Chapter 3. The 4 ways to understand your brain. We have all heard of letting things flow, or things will take their course if we just let them. There is, however, a psychological aspect to that. Reprogramming your mind to accept fluidity starts with understanding what the prefrontal cortex of the brain does. It ignites our fight or flight response. Our resistance to change and our reticence to go through with it are rooted in our innate desire to protect ourselves. This primal instinct can be quieted in the morning while we have very little or nothing to distract us. A quieter morning, a more relaxed approach to starting our day, will result in our cortisol lowering. The less stressed we are, the more focused we can be at our work, daily routine, our attention to our loved ones, and even imagining how things will look like the more we apply the concept of fluidity in our lives. This practice will increase our theta waves, or the waves in our brain that are vital to our sleep, but also to our overall behavior and learning capabilities. Our overall behavior and approach to learning and growing can be subdivided into 4 aspects that happen to govern our emotions: mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set. The mindset is our assessment of how we're able to accomplish something, or not. However, mindset alone is not the deciding factor, or how the pendulum swings, if you will. Heart set, or our emotional intelligence, is whether we truly believe we can do it. Health set is our approach towards taking care of our bodies. Our decisions to provide our bodies nourishment, exercise, and rest are all influential on how we act and think. Soul set is our own individual concept of spirituality. This doesn't mean that we must follow a specific religion, dogma, or have an idea of what is our spirit. Soul set is the space beyond our physical awareness that we create to be grateful or proactive about the ways our lives unfold. It is up to us to decide whether we are fulfilled with our lives or if we need to take further steps to achieve that fulfillment. Chapter 4. The 66-Day Minimum Formula. The 66-Day Minimum Formula helps you refine and improve how you create habits. Picture habits as exercising the brain. After all, the brain is an organ constantly at work, and it is up to us to decide how to maintain it best. Habits, rather than being exclusively linked to discipline, have arcs or cycles. Repetition is key for effectiveness and perdurability. Over the course of 66 days, you can learn how to reprogram your habits and turn them into tools to boost your productivity. Here's the arc of how to make a habit stick. The trigger, remembering when to do it. The ritual, doing it. The reward, the result. The repetition, reinforcement. Understanding how your habits work will help you follow through with the 66-Day Minimum Formula. This 3-step method will help you divide your time more efficiently to create and maintain better habits without quitting. While we understand that it's always possible to quit, since we're all human, the idea is that you'll develop a sense of commitment that'll reduce your chances of giving up. The first 22 days. Destruction. Allow yourself to embrace change. Ditch old habits or old ways of thinking and doing in order to learn fresh, new ways to own your mornings and take control of your life. The second 22 days. Installation. Allow yourself to realize that what you once thought would be difficult is slowly becoming a habit and a valuable addition to your daily routine. The third 22 days. Integration. You will realize that your newly formed habit makes you productive. You are positive about it, and it'll help you boost your productivity and inspire you to implement this method for every other aspect of your life. Chapter 5. The 20-20-20 Formula. As a valued member of the 5 a.m. Club, it is now time to get you acquainted with the 20-20-20 Formula. While it is a challenge to visualize ourselves as early birds, the 20-20-20 Formula will help you jumpstart your day and increase your productivity. The 20-20-20 Formula is a 3 20-minute block method that you can execute every morning to foment smooth sailing practices. Called pockets, these 20-minute blocks are an hour of healthy productivity you can give to yourself to establish an effective routine. Here's how to do it. Pocket. 1. From 5 a.m. to 5:20 a.m., exercise and sweat. It can be a brisk walk or a simple workout. It'll encourage you to stay hydrated, decrease your cortisol while increasing your serotonin and waking up your metabolism. The long-term benefit is increased energy. As you already know, the right amount of physical activity will help you live a longer, healthier life. Pocket 2. From 5:20 a.m. to 5:40 a.m. reflect. You can journal, pray, meditate, or plan the rest of your day. It'll help you feel grateful for what you have rather than longing for what you want or need. As your awareness increases, you'll be able to pave the way for a richer, more fulfilling life. Pocket 3. From 5:40 a.m. to 6 a.m., grow and learn. Study that book you find useful, or you can do it online. Listening to an audiobook that'll enrich your mind works too. By studying, you'll learn to diversify your skills. This can lead to a future project that will yield a better income, or even improve your personal growth. When we don't sleep enough, the spellbinder picked up, not only is it fiercely difficult to get up early, but a number of other highly damaging things impair your productivity and minimize your performance, along with reducing your happiness and eroding your health. You're on the right track mastering the art of planning your day using the 20-20-20 Formula. However, sleep is essential. We can't emphasize this enough. Surely you or someone you know thinks, "I'll sleep in my grave," when either referring to productivity or the daily grind that is adult life. Adding 8 hours of sleep every night has surprising benefits for your brain and overall productivity. What happens when you don't sleep enough or at all? Your cortisol levels increase, making you more prone to stress and wreaking havoc on your mood. There's also the greater probability of developing long-term anxiety that can't be controlled by taking supplements. Increased levels of HGH raise your moods, cognition, energy levels, and lean muscle mass, while reducing your cravings through the regulation of leptin and ghrelin. Here's the main point. While HGH is released through exercise, which is part of the reason pocket number 1 of the 20-20-20 Formula is such a game changer, 75% of HGH production happens when you sleep. There's a reason why people say it matters whether you go to bed angry. Forcing yourself to sleep may allow you to rest, but it won't help you achieve slumber, which is the necessary process for neurological function. It is a good idea to spare at least 3 hours in the evening so you can get a good night's sleep. Make sure you have the last meal of the day, turn off your devices, relax or meditate, spend time with your loved ones, and prepare your room to go to sleep. Your room needs to be dark or dimmed, free of technology or additional stimulation, and should be conducive to relaxation. You can also practice being grateful for the good things that happen to you during the day. This can go from prayer to an exercise in listing which things have made you happy so you can see them as rewards. Chapter 6. Unlock your geniality through discipline. Everything she was applying was delivering enormous rewards. Everything in her life seemed to be clicking again. She was fitter than she'd been in years, happier and more serene than she'd ever known, and more productive during the period she was away from the artist conducting business than she'd imagined she could be. What we see about geniality is only on the surface. We don't always get to see what happens behind the scenes, which obstacles to overcome, and the complexity of our goals. Success often seems like an endeavor that can be admired from a distance. Thus, we wonder if we are truly capable of being successful. Take, for example, how geniality seems to be portrayed as something that can be achieved with relative ease, and that can't be farther from the truth. Geniality is constructed as the charming magnetic pull that we all want in our lives, and we are lured by the thrill of experiencing how everything will work if we just develop our own geniality. However, like everything we have discussed in previous chapters, geniality requires as much sacrifice, discipline, and practice as anything else. There will be instances in which the geniality we create for ourselves will feel as waning. It is not a fixed state of being. Have a scheduled time to embrace your solitude, free from distractions. Yes, you must be alone. You can try not watching any news, not checking your emails, much less going through your spam box. By spending some alone time free from activities that might distract you, you're giving yourself a chance to explore your own thoughts and assess your creative flow. The first 90 minutes of your day or workday must be spent doing a task that'll help you grow or excel. You must do this over the course of 90 days to help you master a particular skill, free from all distractions, after your 90-minute part of your day is over. After you work for an hour, you can take a break for 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes can be used to meditate, exercise, read, or listen to music. List 5 small goals or targets you want to achieve. Daily implementation of this method will result in a productive month, which in turn will result in a successful year when you look back. You may be already exercising in the morning, so you could always use a second workout later in the afternoon or in the evening. Exercise helps you sleep better and promotes longevity. Remember, exercise stimulates the release of HGH, human growth hormone, and preserves our telomeres. Even a short walk can contribute to relaxation and clearer thinking. 2 90-minute massages a week may prove to be highly beneficial for your well-being. While we know it can be challenging to achieve this financially, it can be a valuable addition to your routine when you have the means to do so. You can also make your travel or commute educational. Play an audiobook or grab a book of your choice that'll help you educate yourself on any topic and learn new perspectives. Plan your week ahead in the most wholesome way possible by writing the 7 highlights of your week, so you can try and implement them again every subsequent weeks. Then, on a large sheet of paper, outline your day from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. to include more than just work-related sections. Finally, take an hour to study about the topic of your choice. You can write notes, follow through with a skill-building program, even watch DIY videos. Geniality is a lifelong process in which you may put a lot of wise, reasonable care into your lifestyle or your craft. You don't necessarily have to program yourself to one clear method, but you can simplify the way habits become routines. In other words, geniality is the excellence of what you already do with the right amount of discipline. There isn't a specific order or time of day that you need to choose to apply any of the 10 tactics. You also don't need to overwhelm yourself by stretching time to apply all of them within the day. The key is to persevere. The longer you engage yourself in keeping a healthy habit, the more you'll have it ingrained in your lifestyle. This doesn't mean that there won't be any setbacks in life by simply applying these tactics, but consistency will help you manage your own handling of those setbacks. Remember how our mindset needs to be paired with the heart set to set yourself up for success? By looking closely at these tactics, you'll discover that all of them allow you to have a place for learning and growth. However, what is learning and growth without passion? Letting yourself persevere is often a good indicator of how motivated you are towards initiating and finalizing your achievements.